You guys, everybody here.
Guys, can you sit down, please? In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit, one God.
Before we start with the talk, I just wanted to thank you guys for having me here. And I gotta tell you, this is the coolest setup of the meeting. I've ever seen with the romantic roses and stuff like that. So I give my hands to just the organization people. So thank you for that and for the amazing email and stuff. So basically, for our time, the talk is. I mean, sometimes not meetings. We have maybe, I don't know, something sorry, like something very small. So this is very home. This is a really good home. So I'm trying not to burden you with too much talking. I know we're trying to keep it very small. But we'll have a little chat. That's one way. Not much of a chat, and then we'll break it into groups and have a little discussion. Basically, the title of today's talk, I don't know if there was like I saw a really cool graphic or something like that for being stuck between a rock and a hard place. I didn't even know you guys had that expression. I thought it was just a weird American thing. It's cool that you guys have it in here too. I wanted to ask you if you've ever had this experience. If you ever felt this feeling of stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's a weird way of putting it, but basically, have you ever felt frustrated in your spiritual life? And maybe just give me a head nod if you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, let me know how you do it, because I don't know. I'm frustrated all the time in my spiritual life. And one of the most annoying things ever is when you feel like you're putting in the right work, you feel like you're doing the right stuff, and the wrong outcome is coming out, right? It makes sense if you're doing the wrong stuff, and then the wrong stuff comes out. If you're doing the right stuff, then it kind of confuses you. And one of the cool passages that I saw one time in the Bible that kind of illustrated this point for me was one time the disciples, they were doing the whole disciple thing, fishing. It's just what they do. And they're sitting there fishing, doing the whole fishing thing, and then nothing happens. They're expert fisher people. They're Mr. Fisher and Mrs. Fisher, but they're just fisher people. And they're fishing, and they get nothing, right? And then they come to God, they come to Jesus and say, Jesus, what's going on? Why is there no fish? Why is there no result in our fishing? And he says, okay, I have a solution. Do more of the fishing. Cast out into the deep. Go do some more fishing. And St. Peter, because he was always very respectful and very nice, said, look, Lord, we've labored all night. No offense, you're a carpenter. Okay, different specialties. I think uni is for carpentry, and then there's a different, we went to uni for fishing, and this is what we do. This is the fishing thing. We're experts at the fishing thing. But, semicolon, the Bible says, he pauses and he says, at your word, even though I've been laboring all day, and I've been trying, and I've been doing this, and I'm getting no result, at your word, I'm going to give something a try, in spite of my own frustration, and in spite of what I've tried and whatever, and maybe hope for a different result. Even though our title today is technically Perseverance, I'm going to give you a little curveball. Actually, what I'm going to aim for you to do today is not to persevere at all. The aim for today is maybe we're trying and we're doing and we're and fishing, and no fish is coming out. And maybe Christ is trying to tell us, don't just fish, you got to go fish a little deeper. I'll explain what that means in a second. Because that passage it hung on one particular, maybe you haven't heard a commentary on a semicolon before, but let this be the first time from Weird American Guy. The semicolon in that passage, I know we don't have Bibles, and my fault for not having a PowerPoint, something like that. I just haven't been too hectic to actually put it in paper, but it's here, trust me. The passage hangs on a semicolon. Because what does semicolon mean? You guys are British, you know better English than we do, but we just speak American. We just invented semicolon. What does semicolon mean?
Continuation.
Okay, there's something, but what happens, so I'm talking, why do I have to put a semicolon?
It gives an example.
Okay, not quite finished. I gotta stop. Okay, semicolon, pause. Something later is gonna go down, there's gonna be a point, there's gonna be not quite finished, but I'm pausing. For today, we wanna pause, we want a time out, we want a semicolon, and not just, even though it's good to persevere, even though it's good to keep doing the same stuff, even though it's good to keep coming to the last Sunday meeting. It's good to keep going to liturgy. It's good to keep praying. It's good to keep Bible. See that verb? Keep Bible. It's good to do all that stuff. But maybe we need a little semicolon to reconsider the fact of this person that's speaking to us about this whole thing of prayer, Bible meeting, liturgy, the whole bit. I'll tell you what I mean for my life. For me, the biggest frustration I ever felt in my spiritual life is when I felt like I'm doing the stuff and there was no result. And I turned to God and I said, what's the deal? What's the deal? Why isn't this working? This was a couple years ago, and I'm not really close to God. And someone was even telling me this like last night. Someone was telling me who's from here from the UK, how they go to church and how they do all the right stuff, but there's no relationship, there's no intimacy with God. And that's how I felt for a long time. Come to church, hear stuff. Like this is how church was like for me. Maybe this is different. If it's different for you, don't judge me, okay? You want to absolve me later, okay? Church for me was like, can you think of your favorite sitcom? I don't know UK sitcoms. I know like American stuff like Lost. You ever watch Lost? Lost is awesome, right? Lost is very exciting. Or whatever sitcom. Sitcom, you go, episode, cliffhanger, and then we go home. Cliffhanger is a good one. Like, excitement, and like, there's a good plot, there's a good bad guy, there's a good villain, right? There's a good guy, there's a bad guy, there's mystery, there's all this kind of stuff. And to me, that's all church was. But it's a sitcom. It's nice. It's a sitcom even, like sometimes we'll even do this with a sitcom. Sometimes I'll get together with my friends and we'll watch Seinfeld. You know what I mean? Whatever. And of course, it's like a new episode for everything. There's the Super Nazi does everything, you know what I mean? I don't know if Seinfeld is big here, but over there it's pretty big. And you can get together with nice flowers, you can get together with nice bechamel, and you can watch the next episode of the sitcom. But what happens when the sitcom ends? Just a sitcom. It's just a movie. Like, I'm not going to go, like, no one ever told me, Mina, I don't know, the producers of Lost really spoke to me, really impacted my heart. And I'm going to go become Lost. I don't whatever, I'm going to give my life to Lost. It doesn't happen. I'm going to go become the next Jersey Shore. No one dedicates their life to a sitcom. And that's why it made sense to me. Every time I'll go to church, and there would be some weirdo in church who's like really into it, but like, yo, calm down. It's a sitcom. Like, it's not real, bro. Like, no one told him. This guy's like spending his life in it. And like, this guy's Saul Beep, like he doesn't know it's not real. He doesn't know the secret that the rest of us do, which is, you come, you enjoy it, you turn the TV off, you go about your business. Right? Isn't that how sitcoms go? That's what it was for me. Big, glaring thing for me with the whole God thing and the whole semicolon thing was, it's lovely, it's cute, and we even can fellowship together about it. I've had many discussions about many movies or sitcoms, if you want to go with the movie analogy. The big movie last month was, a month or 2 months ago, I don't remember now, Batman, right? Anybody here see Batman?
Yeah.
The Dark Knight, cool, ugly villain guy. Again, no one's going to say, Batman inspired me, I'm going to go wear black tux. Just let them become my new outfit. It's just inspired. It doesn't happen. Because it's not real. And for me, even though, like, come on, like, I've been raised in the church, Coptic, I almost had a green tattoo cross in Cairo. Almost, but I was afraid of hepatitis. I hope nobody here has it, I hope, but just saying. Right? So, like, Coptic to the core, like, born and bred Coptic. So, of course, God is real. Hey, what do you mean? What do you mean? But for me, God wasn't real. And that was a semicolon moment. That was a pause moment, like, wait a minute. Hold up. Is this real? Or is it not real? That's what I had to ask. And that's my first, like, changer thing. Like, people sometimes ask me weird questions because I live a weird life. And I'm weird, like, I'm American, and I'm weird, and as you guys can tell already, we're having a very good interaction. People sometimes ask me, what are you doing? Why are you doing the stuff that you do? For me, it always comes back to a semicolon. Which, of course, makes a lot of sense to me explain. Hey, why did you do that? Semicolon. No. For me, it comes back to the fact of, hey guys, fact that when this Jesus person became more than Batman, became more than a sitcom character, hero, supervillain, became an actual person. And you know what my first, like sometimes I think for myself, if we're having a discussion, we're having a little sermon, or even for me, if I'm trying to practically apply this, what was my first point of application when I started to see that, wait a minute, hold up, time out, crazy, Jesus is real? What my first application was, I didn't go do stuff. I didn't go pray, I didn't go read. I just, like that. I was jaw dropped, like, I know it's very expressive, very eloquent. That's how good Americans speak, with their faces. And the question that I had for myself, and the question maybe that I have for you, before we get into all the other stuff, how was your semicolon doing? How was your semicolon moment, or day, or period in your life, where you look at God, you look at Jesus, and be like, whoa, like, oh, whoa, like, there's this really beautiful verse in Hebrews 10:29 that always speaks to me about our situation as Coptic people. It says, we count the blood of God a common thing. You know, common. Like, if you were to go into, let's say, if I was to come into a meeting like this, and the common thing for me, like I said, is to have little like pretzels and stuff like that. That's our budget in America, right? That's common for me. When I came in and saw like a bechamel feast, I was like, okay, I'm not talking to anybody, I'm just going to eat my bechamel feast, right? You know what I mean? That was it's uncommon, it's not usual. But for some reason, for me, maybe for some of you guys as well, somebody made it seem to me that every day, you know, God comes, becomes man, dies on the cross. I don't know, I saw that last week. What's the next episode of this sitcom? This is getting boring. You know what I mean? Like, do you ever feel like somehow somebody kind of cheated us into thinking that this was normal? It's not normal. Like, what happened and what's happening in Jesus ain't normal. It's not usual. It's not common. It's weird. It's crazy. And that's why sometimes for me, after I realized, wait a minute, this is not normal, a lot of things in my life became not normal either. Like, I'll tell you some of the not normal things and make fun of me because, you know, we're friends. So my training was in medicine, okay? And then I stopped doing medicine stuff to do full-time mission and service and whatever. Now it's been like about a year and change. Whenever I talk to someone about this not typical, maybe not normal decision, after they stop laughing, like, we have a conversation, you know, because they're very nice. Americans just laugh at each other, like, very casual. There's no problem. I get it all the time, right? After the laughter fades, wait, why are you doing this? Like, it seems like it's real. It seems like it's like something that's like worth it for you to be actually doing this. And I say, well, I think so. I think based on the semicolon moment and based on experiences since then, it's not too much for God. I'm not advocating that we all do weird things. What I'm saying is, maybe instead of persevering in normal things, normal quote unquote, things that we've normalized our own reaction. Maybe rethink our own reactions, rethink our own response. Like, think of a husband and a wife, right? Like, from what I've seen some husbands and wives react, it's been very unpleasant. But think of a pleasant one, okay? Like, a husband comes in, you know, like, I was in Switzerland last week. He comes in with like mad Swiss chocolate, okay? Like white chocolate, dark chocolate, green chocolate, like the whole bit, right? Coming to wife and they're like, here, honey, I love you, here's like a kind of Swiss chocolate. I'm just gonna make some shade. Like, at least let me get a thank you, like, let me get a high five, like something, right? Like, wouldn't it be weird if a wife responds that way? And sometimes it's weird for us, the way we respond, and it's not to make us feel guilty, but it's to realize, like, it's not about us responding, it's about us first realizing, before we respond. Say, wait, hold on. Like, let me just physically take my eyes off and think back in and look at this Jesus who's murdered on a cross, which is very morbid, a word to say, but like, it's just true. Like, even in today's epistle, if you guys were at church, like the Pauline had said, like, I don't want to know nothing. It's very eloquent English. It said, I know nothing except Christ and Him crucified. Like, Come on, St. Paul, like, know a couple more things, know some Greek, like that can help you in the situation. Why just Jesus and him crucified? He said, for me, that covers everything. Because that changes the whole universe for me, is that Jesus and him crucified. Because that's the thing that makes you like re-jump, reorient everything, re-persevere. Maybe not persevere in the same old stuff, but maybe persevere in different stuff. The second phase always happened for me was, once I saw that it was real for me, I wonder if this thing will work for other people. Because that's like when I see like, is this, maybe it's just a fluke. Maybe it's a one-time thing. Maybe I started to get to know God, and God is cool, but like I invented it in my own mind. For the past year now, and now for the past 6 weeks here in Europe, I've been seeing that it's not a fluke. I've been seeing how, for us as Coptic people, as young Coptic people, when we share something about the love of God in someone else's life, there's such a power there that's like ridiculous. I'll tell you a small thing from a couple days ago. I was in Amsterdam. And you guys know Amsterdam, of course, is known to be like a Christian pilgrimage. That's true. It's like, she went there to Matanias, and it was like very spiritual. So we went to the most spiritual place ever, the Red Light District. So we got a blessing, just a bunch. Okay? And there, we figured, there's one of my favorite little lines from not little, it's a nice line, from the liturgy, about the cross, about the Feast of the Cross that we had a couple days ago. One of those cool like hand move too, right? When he goes like this, I always like reminded like a ninja move. So he goes like this and then he goes like that. When he said, well, it's not as dramatic as I'm making it, but it's very subtle. But he says, you know, he descended into Hades through the cross. So that always gave me a cool idea of wanting to descend into Hades or dark places through the power of the cross. Anyway, separate meditation, just for your own thing. We go to Amsterdam, we go to the Red Light District, and we pray a lot with a small group of people. And I'm with a friend of mine, and we said we're going to outreach prostitutes. We're going to speak with people who are in the prostitution business about God. Maybe we'll give them a call. And we'll see how it goes. We go to this one person named Elena. And me and my buddy over here, first, like a weird thing happens that was kind of threw us off. One guy from Amsterdam. And we start talking to them, and the intro line was just, you know, again, don't judge me, how much? Okay, how much is the situation? And she goes, 50 euros for 20 minutes. Then we say, okay, have you ever thought about that you're worth much more than that to Christ? And they're like, wait, what? Hold up. Say, what? What the who? And from there, it was like a whole conversation, well, what's your name? Where are you from? What do you do? No. One girl named Elena said to us, it seems like God is always sending me somebody here. Like after this conversation where she was open, and she was like, actually wait. She was telling my buddy, she was like, don't I know you? Don't you come here a lot? I was like, oh, whoa. This is not ministry, okay? I don't know. And he was like, he got all serious, like, what? No, it's the first time here? She's like, no, like, you know, there's a church that comes here and they give roses to us and with verses in it. I was like, alhamdulillah, I thought it was, you know, the wrong kind of, you know, whatever. Well, it would have been cool. No judgment. But that's what she was saying. She was like, maybe God kept sending me people, and maybe this is a time where there's a change that's going to happen in my life. And we're like, and we talked a little bit more, and more of her life comes out, why she's doing this, how she's struggling in it, how she wants to change. Like, you think Jesus can really change me? We're like, yeah. And then like tears and stuff. I'm like I'm not an emotional dude, so I was like, my bad. Like, was it wrong? Whatever we did, I'm sorry. Like, whatever. Like, she's crying and she's like, forgiveness and shafir. And then she grows in it. And then she like, we pray together in Amsterdam, in the Red Light District, in the stuff. Not done yet though. God was still doing something in this lady's life. Yeah, if you go to a church, no, I don't speak the language. If you find me a church, I'll go. Are you sure? Yeah. We go, we make a pamphlet for her with the churches on the inside, and then the story from the Bible from Luke 7 of Christ with the prostitute on one side, a nice picture on the other side of Christ sitting with a nice little lady and saying Christ gives her dignity and freedom. We give her this and we give her a Bible. So do you have a Bible? She said, no. We give her our own Bible. So wow, that's really special. As we walk away, we just gave her one pamphlet. So we walked away and then we were like, okay, you know what, let's go back, maybe give her another pamphlet, just in case she wanted to get to the roommate or something. It's only nice, sharing is caring. As we're walking back, we see a group of guys standing outside of her little window. It's like, it looks like this a little bit. And they're like pointing like and laughing. I'm like, this is weird, what's wrong with these guys? You know why they were laughing? He said, look at her. She's reading the Bible. Sitting there in Amsterdam, at work. Like God moved in her instantly, that she's curtain wide open, sitting there, studying the Bible, in the face of all the stuff that's happening around her. She takes the pamphlets, tells us later on, she's like, I need more pamphlets. We're like, why, you selling them or something? Or that eBay? She's like, no, I'm giving to all my friends, all the girls in the district, and to the clients. I'm like, whoa, that might be taken a little weird. She's like, yeah, I don't care. We both have to repent. I'm like, you're right. We all have to repent, like the widow was saying in today's sermon. And she's like, I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna stop this, but until I'm able to, I'm gonna do what I can to help other people there. God planted a missionary in the middle of the red light district. And maybe that's more of an extreme example. Maybe we're not all gonna go to that kind of area, but I'm just showing you maybe one thing that God did when He showed Himself to be real to someone who's like totally gone. The same thing happened with like people in, you guys know the other district over there, the green light district. There's like red light, yellow light, green light. Green light is the herb, the recreational herb, and they call it marijuana here. I don't know if it's the same name. I won't tell you too many stories just because I don't want to bore you. But I want to tell you that the same thing happened there. People who were enjoying recreational herbs, marijuana, begin to see how God can be real for them, even when they're not stoned, even when they're not like just. Sometimes if you're very stoned, you can just be more receptive. They happen to have been receptive both ways, stoned and not stoned. And the same thing, like the youth in Switzerland, the youth in Amsterdam, the youth in Italy, and more importantly, most importantly, in the UK. What we saw as people here, like, when I first came here, like, we just try this outreach stuff. We try to speak to people, about God. People are like, no, buddy, not in the UK. Americans, they have a very low IQ. They might accept God, but the UK, smart. Okay? So in the UK, like, who do you think would be the least receptive group of people to hearing about God here in the UK? Give me a demographic. Rich people? Poor people? Muslim people? Edgeware Road? So how about in Edgeware Road, a nice little area like this that we had, except with 7 Saudi Arabian Muslim fellas who were very open to discussing the presence of Christ in their life. I know it's weird. I don't know if you believe what I'm saying. I caught some of it on video. Like some of these accounts, actually the account with Elena is actually recorded on audio. I can show you some of the audio if you don't buy it. Because you never know if you trust Americans. But isn't that cool? Even just a random example, he said Edgeware Road. And more even the other side of it, I'll tell you, why do we even do this? A part of it is for people who are over there that don't get to hear. Part of people who are over there that don't get to experience. But maybe for you, for me and you, like I'll tell you one story that always like touches me. One friend of mine, who he's a buddy, younger guy, but he was very, I don't know how to say, like, very different. Okay, like he just smoked massive amounts of weed. Okay, and he was into a very party lifestyle and stuff like that. And of course nobody does that, so like, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like he was just different. And for him, we brought him along the service and said, just come and see how it goes, and we'll share with someone else. And this young dude, we'll call him Mina, just because anonymous names, the most common nickname in the world. So me and Mina are there and speaking with this one guy who, I don't know, he could have been Goliath. Like he's like ginormous, African American, not being racist, but he was just very powerful. He looked like he had eaten us both for lunch and like just had dessert at the table or something. He was just huge. And this guy was kind of, in the beginning, was a little bit like, aggressive. And then Mina turns to him and starts talking to him about God. And I'm like, dude, just relax. Just like take it easy because we might get killed. He's like, no. We have to tell him like that God loves him. Yes, God loves him, but we don't want to meet God right now. So just he's like, no, like, let me tell you something. Do you know that you can have forgiveness and that God really loves you? He's telling him stuff that he just learned in 3rd grade because he doesn't know anything, you know what I mean? And he tells him that, and I'm just turning to him like, we're gonna die. But then I look up, and the huge dude is crying. I was like, you know what I mean? I started thinking this guy's a buttercup. I'm like, maybe this guy's a saint. I just didn't know, like, pretending with the whole weed thing. And this guy starts like pouring out his life and saying how, like, he struggled with this, and his house burned down, this wife's far away from God, all this story, all this thing comes out. I don't know what happened to that guy later on, we weren't able to keep in touch as much, but I know what happened to this guy. This guy is now, like, he's in one particular area in America, he's like, repented, he's a servant, he does all this kind of stuff, and I keep in touch with him, and we always laugh about that story. He had an impact of seeing how God is real, of how God is like, whoa, of how God is earth-shattering, how God is not common. Seeing him work in someone else's life. Seeing him work in someone that he's a total stranger, different culture, different upbringing, different everything. But whoa, God is real. And I've just seen, it's been so amazing, like, to see that in different countries, in different cultures, in different languages, different accents, different hairdos, different whatever. But the same two basic things have been happening in people's lives that God has allowed us to experience. One is that when we, as people who got it all, who know it all, who are down, Copticness stamped on your forehead, okay? When you start taking it outside of our little bubble, like someone was telling me, someone here from Australia, right? Anybody from Australia here? Right? Do you guys know about the Coptic village in Australia? Right? Yeah. I'm not sure if I know correctly what it is, right? But it's like a village where it's just Copticness everywhere. It's just Coptic people, Coptic doctors, Coptic. It's like a little Coptic bubble, right? Is that correct? I could be making it up. We'll just go with it for now. Because we kind of live in these little Coptic bubbles anyway, whether it's in Australia or in America. In America, we try to do everything we can to maintain the fortress of Copticness. You know, so that it is impregnable. No one can come in, no one can come out. But every once in a while, when we escape the Coptic bubble through a little Coptic passport, and you see somebody outside, and you see that, whoa, wait a minute. Stuff that I learned when I was a baby can make an impact on someone's life. I'm not saying everyone wants to cry. Like, even though, for some reason, in Trafalgar Square, someone just says very simple things. Like, I remember when I was with the team over here, one girl from Scotland was sharing with somebody in Trafalgar Square, and she was saying to them, you know that God has a plan for you, and He cares about you deeply. For me, I'd have been like, the girl over there was like, really? Oh my gosh, hey, when the change her whole life. Why? It's because people don't know about that. It's people actually in the UK, here in London, don't know Christianity 101. They don't know who Christ is, why He came, what He did, good stuff. And you know, it's like if you go to like Africa, right? You got little African babies, and you give them like a Big Mac. They're gonna be like, whoa. You know, that's like a big deal. There's a verse in the Bible that says like, with tables, it talks about people are waiting for crumbs from our table. Just crumbs from our table. They're not waiting for a whole meal. They're not waiting for the whole bechamel. Just a little bechamel, like just a little, you know what I mean? And that little bechamel, if that makes any sense, has made the hugest impact on people, but then also on us. I'll tell you a confession, everyone is here so they can, again, absolve me. Every once in a while I rethink this whole thing, this whole Christianity, like, to be honest, to be fair. Like, come on. It's cool for us to hang out, but like, come on. Really? God came and God died for me? And then every once in a while, as I rethink that, and as I'm somewhere else, seeing someone here for the first time, and seeing someone's life completely changed. Yeah, no, you're right. My bad, I'm just joking. So what I wanted to just encourage you with today is just those two things. Semicolon, bechamel, just very random principles. The pause of relooking at the cross one more time, relooking, because it's such a generic thing, all right? We got a tattoo, we got a necklace, we got it everywhere. But maybe a pause, maybe a semicolon, maybe looking at it again and seeing, not just do I believe it, believe it is standard, baby stuff. I'm saying, am I overwhelmed by it? Am I like, dude, you know what I mean? Like, however surprised you guys, How do you express surprise in England? Tea, biscuits, I don't know, one thing we cannot do is look at Jesus and say, he's nice. What are we having for drinks later? You know what I mean? Like, Jesus can only be either overwhelmingly awesome or overwhelmingly awful. He's got to be one of the two things. Like, he's got to be, the cross is like, you know why this expression, crossroads, right? I'm inventing that, maybe that's what comes from the cross, okay? The cross has to be like this. Like I used to listen to rap music, okay, when I was young. Confession Again, Part 3. A lot of things, it's all there, okay? One of the reasons I stopped listening to rap music is because it's very eloquent lyrics are stupid, okay? One of the things that one particular gifted rapper said, he said, I went by the fork in the road. I drove by the fork in the road and I went straight. Does that make sense? He's a poetic. His name's Jay-Z. Very great man. And God opposes him. Does it make sense for you to go to a fork in the road and then go straight? I know driving is different here. You guys drive on the other side of the road, but I'm just saying. Like, does it make sense? Can you do that? No, right? No. Because what happens when you drive by a fork in the road? You guys have forks on the road? Does that expression translate?
Yes.
It's a T-junction.
What happens if you drive by a fork in the road? You hit a tree, okay? Like you hit something, you hit the fork thing. The cross is this big fork. At the fork, like you just come and you got to either say, okay, you're awesome or you're awful. Like you're irrelevant. Like C.S. Lewis one time said, Christianity can either be of the utmost importance or of the utmost irrelevance. One thing it cannot be is moderately important. Sunday important. And I'll leave you with that. Maybe we can have, I know we're about to close with a little question discussion point. Maybe one of the reasons why the rest of the world sees us as only moderately important is because we don't get to experience the awesomeness, the power of God. One of the ways of experiencing the power of God, one of the ways of appreciating more of your bechamel, show a bechamel sandwich, not sandwich, that's weird, show a bechamel to a little African kid that's never seen bread. You'll see that jaw drop like crazy. Maybe give yourself a chance to experience God's like life-changing craziness by doing something that's maybe not what you would persevere in. You should persevere in all the good stuff. But maybe switch it up a little bit to go from the rock to the hard place to something else where you're not stuck anymore in your spiritual life by allowing God to surprise you. I don't know if you all like surprises. I'm not the biggest fan. But it's cool with God because God is creator and stuff. He does that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Bechamel? Good to go? So if we could take a few minutes, unless we have questions. Do you have any questions? Usually there are no questions because who wants to ask a question? Oh, it's weird. But if you do, I won't judge you. Questions? No? Okay. Round to the questions, then glory be to God forever. Amen? We'll have a few minutes of discussion, then we'll come back and close with worship and a song. And then, if you want to say, I don't buy it, Mr. American Guy, I want to try it myself, I invite you for maybe 15, 20 minutes to go to, we're going to be going to a little neighboring park of some sort. And actually doing, and the approach, by the way, just to give you the actual how-to of how this stuff gets done, it's the easiest thing in the world. We say we're doing a survey, and the uni law has been heard this a lot now. We've taken them out like multiple times. Doing a survey. Hey, what's the survey about? About faith and choices. Someone says no. That's the end of the survey. Someone says yes. Start to ask them what's your religious background. Do you believe in a higher power? How do you describe Jesus? And from these three little simple questions, a whole thing erupts of them telling you what their faith is, what their misconceptions are about God, and how you can, in a very small way, alter the direction of their entire life. I remember one dude in Miami one time told us at the team, he said, he was actually a gay person in South Beach in Miami. He said that the fact that this is true, this God's love thing is true, changes my whole life right now. Okay, if you say so. So, sorry, again, prolonging my own conclusion. The one question I wanted you to maybe discuss for a few together is, if this is real for me, how can I show someone else that it's real as well? Does that kind of make sense? Yes.
I've got a question. Now, taking that for everyday life. So, for example, in the workplace, you're there, and it's naturally, you know, on a Friday night, everyone's over here. Everyone obviously wants to go to the pub or to the park after work, and you know, people generally ask what you're doing on the weekend, so forth. I mean, for myself, and I speak for myself, I say I'm going to church on Sunday, standard. Whether I actually end up attending or missing the gospel, sorry everyone in the hub. No, but like at first everyone like looks weirdly and so forth, and then they get used to it and respect it. But what I'm leading on to the question is, is it normal to sometimes feel like you're getting challenged by it when they start asking you why do you go to church and so forth, and then it becomes an A-B conversation where I feel like I'm defending myself, saying I go to church, but they say, oh no, but you do this and you do that, you do this, but you still pray, you still do that. So how can you overcome that defensive barrier and make it sound more open?
That's a great question. I think the same, whether it's in the workplace or even out wherever we're going to be, like people always kind of have the same kind of concern, like why do you how can you kind of do whatever it is that you're doing and still go to church, or like how can I speak to someone about God if I'm still like struggling with stuff, whatever. The best way, I mean, there's of course our own like struggle and repentance, right? Like for us to actually be changing ourselves. But when we approach someone though in humility of saying like, look, like the reason I go to church is because like I need God. Like the reason I need to keep coming to God is because I keep messing up. Like I'm struggling. I'm not going because like all the great people go to church, you know, all the good people. You know, I go there or I go to meet God wherever, or I pray or I read the Bible. The reason why I do all that stuff, for me, is from the position of humility, a position of like a low position, not a position of I'm a man, I'll read the Bible, but the position of I'm struggling, maybe just like you. And that's how we relate to people really well too. In their own struggle, in their own like whatever, you know, kind of like you're at work, you know this, you know the coworkers. Like I know you guys, whatever. I'm the same way. Just for me, I run to God with them, and God really has an impact. And that's where the biggest like truth can come out from our own lives, is the personal impact God has on me. Is the fact that when I come to God, God is real. When I come to God, it's just what happens. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like an intellectual polemic debate of why church is the best and why church is not the best. No, it's a personal thing of why God is real to me, and why God, when I go to Him, makes an impact. Any other questions?
I have a small comment.
Yes, sir.
Just a little century spiritual awakening. I think it's very important for people to be Christians about when their faith. Because God, it's very important for God that we glorify Him. This is part of God's faith. But just to comment, I totally agree that we should reach out for people and tell them about Christ. But I think there are particular ways of doing that, and we shouldn't just I challenge you on the point you said, let's go to the park and tell people about Christ. There's so many examples in the Bible with disciples where you find that, and with Christ himself, that when he went to talk to people about Christianity, about himself, about his Father, about himself, there was a particular way of looking at what people need and seeking and approaching their needs, providing them, and through that telling them about it. So your example in Amsterdam is a very good one. You went and spoke to people who were in need of something. You went through their business, to what they do for a job, and then you told them about Christ. There's a very good service known here in the UK, which is called Submission, and then there is Extero, which is they go and approach people who are in need of food and drink, the very basics of life, clothing, and provide them with food and drink, provide them for what they need, because as humans, very important something is what they need today, what they need at this very moment, which is food and drink. And through that we speak to them about Christ. Your example about fishermen, what they were trying to do was to catch fish, and this is where Christ is concerned. The business of catching fish and making the preparation. So just to comment about this, approaching people on the path and about Christ, you might be quite surprised that in the UK, I don't know about anywhere else, but it might not work. If you don't approach them at the point where it's in their need, you'll find it quite challenging.
Excellent. So really, really important comment. Thank you for that. Because
Yeah, I think in response to what you're saying, I've got friends of different faiths and gifts and all like that, and it depends how chummy you are with someone. If you like, for instance, you talk with them quite a lot, and you mention, oh, I'm going to church tonight. They'd be like, well, you never mentioned that before. Or like, for instance, yesterday I was on the phone with one of my good mates, and I was telling her about the Friday meeting, and even I showed off the bracelet I'm wearing with the saints, and I'm showing it to my friends. And I think it's about how you embrace it, but I think you need to do it subtly.
yeah, that's critical. But even with the subtlety, the reason why his first half is so important is saying the needs thing. Basically, when we tell people the full-on training, like to be fair, I'm only giving like just a feet wet, just intro to the whole concept of this, right? But the full-on training has two huge branches. One of them is this whole thing of people's needs. People who are sick, who are tired, who are imprisoned, who are hungry, who are thirsty. Those, we must do them. Like His Holiness said one time, a bold thing of, if we don't, we might be risking our own salvation. So that's gangster stuff, he says, like, and I believe it. That's why back home, we go to prisons, we go to hospitals, we do all that stuff. So going through the need is one thing. But then the other category is like people in Canary Wharf that we spoke with, not just people in the park, but even people higher than people in the park. People who were like just ballers, okay? I expected them to say, listen buddy, I have 4 Bentleys, like leave me alone. You know what I mean? I don't need anything from you. You know, the need is different for them. The need for them is not material. Like Mother Teresa one time when she was in America, she like wept at the need in America. She was like, you guys are so sad. Like, it's not a material need, but the need for like love and compassion and a conversation is so immense, it's much bigger than our need in India. So it's critical, like you're saying, what is the need then for people here in the park? How do you reach them? Sometimes to show like a white flag of saying, hey, we're friends, we give away something as a gift, how Christ did. You know, sometimes you give fish sandwiches, sometimes you give healing. Sometimes we'll give some water. Say, hey, here's some water, it's totally free. That's what we did in Trafalgar Square. We have water, soda, and some funny like gummy snacks. And people were like, why are you doing this? Why? It's like, water's expensive. You know what I mean? And just through the actual gift, they were like, this is cool. But then even more so, what they needed, what they loved, was the conversation. Was the fact that how you can have a conversation. Not me speaking at you, kind of how I've been doing the past 40 minutes, but like how we can talk with each other. How I can ask you a question, and you can tell me what you believe, and I can ask you more questions to lead you on into a direction how Christ did. Exactly like you said. Christ asked over 100 questions in the gospel. Why? Because he knew that a conversation, Samaritan woman, Zacchaeus, blind dude, whatever, questions, conversation, can lead you to actually discovering the truth for yourself. So I love the challenge. If you want me to challenge you back, come and I'll show you. Couldn't be any clearer than that.
I think it's important that you remember that you're the reflection of Christ. So your actions speak louder than your words. So your action of giving is in its own service. So when they see that you're giving, you're opening up to them, they start to open up to you, and that's how it carries on.
Exactly.
So you're affecting them straight away.
Exactly. And it's cool that your actions and your words, like your actions are really loud, they speak louder than your words. You throw in a couple of words in there, you're really good. You got audio, visual, Christianity, and you're good to go. So I'm sorry we're time-wise.
No, it's good.
They told me that you can make this kind of announcement. If anyone has to go anyone's commitments, because I know it's very important, and I really respect you guys for the way that you keep punctuality, very important. Except my fault, believe me, I'm the American guy. If anyone has commitments, please feel free to commit. But if not, whether you want to discuss for 5 minutes or you want to just pray, I leave it in the hands of people who do so. as we
If no one needs to go, did you want to do the quick 5-minute discussion, just kind of in the tables?
In tables.
Do you want to repeat the time?
Okay. So the question again real quick is, I know it's a little bit generic intentionally so that we can discuss it however way you want. You can just discuss either your reaction to the talk, this idea of us sharing our faith, or specifically the question spelled out is if God is real, if this truth is real, what can I do to share it with others?